Ayyash. He is a professor of sociology at Mount Royal University. He joins me now live from Calgary in Canada. Great to have you here with us on TRT World. So what do you make of this latest development?
This is an extension of Israel's violation of anything that is decent in humanity, let alone international law and human rights. The destruction that has been inflicted on the Lebanese people in southern Lebanon is quite extensive. Villages have been destroyed. Hundreds of homes have been demolished. Thousands of trees have been uprooted. Critical infrastructure destroyed. They're going into homes and just burning them because they just feel like it. They're refusing to allow people back in. When Lebanese people tried to go back to their homes a little over two weeks ago, they executed in cold blood 22 people, injured over 124 people. And now they're trying to assert that they are the only real power and authority in southern Lebanon. They can do whatever they want in that region, all under the guise of security. And this is what happens when a settler colonial state gets away with settler colonialism. They continue to do it, whether it's against Lebanese or Palestinian people. It becomes part of their understanding of what is acceptable in the world. And of course, the Lebanese people are just as stubborn as the Palestinian. They will go back to their land. They will insist on going back to their lands. But this announcement, which sounds indefinite, there's no deadline for these outposts, as far as I see right now. And as far as I can see in the reporting, the U.S. has not said anything about any deadlines for removing these outposts. This looks like the beginning of a plan for them to stay there permanently. Whether they can do it or not is another story, because the resistance of the Lebanese people will have a say in this. But certainly Israel wants to basically assert their will over the entire Middle East and say, we get everything we want, and you all have to shut up and accept what we say.
Muhannad, let me pick your brain here a bit. When was the last time you heard the U.S. say anything about Israeli violations?
Never. Almost never. I mean, now with Trump, as your previous speaker said, they have just, this blunt discourse over what previous American administrations have allowed Israel to do. Trump, the other day, he said, we're just going to take Gaza. And then people said, are you going to buy it? Or are you going to spend taxpayer money for it? And he said, no, we're just going to take it. And this shows you the way of thinking in which the American government today and the Israeli government today, the way that they are thinking is just that we're so powerful. We have all the force and economic capital and political capital on our side. Who's going to stop us? We don't care about violating rights. We don't care about international law. We don't care about, again, human decency. Might makes right. And we're going to get whatever we want when we want it. And whoever tries to oppose us, we're just going to utterly destroy their lives. Under the Trump administration, the U.S. has just basically given Israel the green light to, act out this way without any hindrance. Not that previous administration put any hindrance on them anyway, but now it just should be all out in the open. So really, the only real opposition that can come here is from the rest of the world, and we should start to understand. I beg people to start to see that every Israeli action is an extension of American policy as well. These two are joined at the hip. Everything one does is connected to the other, and the world needs to stand up to these two bullies. One funny thing that Trump said yesterday is that he was referring to Hamas as the bully in the room, and that the bully in the room is always the weakest. He said, believe me, the bully in the room is always the weakest. I think the rest of the world needs to call out that bluff now on Trump, because Trump and Netanyahu are the real bullies. And let's prove Trump right for once. Let's make him right that they are the weakest in the room. And I think if the world does gather together and present a united front against these kinds of aggressions that are really leading everyone down a terrible path of genocide and war, then I think we can call their bluff and show them to be the weakest in the room.
Muhannad, I think the world has a good idea now of what Netanyahu and Donald Trump want when it comes to Gaza. They want to forcefully displace Palestinians living there and move them to other countries. But what do you think is Israel's and Washington's plan when it comes to Lebanon?
Well, I think they certainly want the eradication of any kind of resistance to Israeli settler colonialism in Palestine. So any political group or any potential of a political group emerging in Lebanon, specifically in southern Lebanon, that would call out and name Israeli settler colonialism for what it is, that tries to oppose Israeli plans to, annex the entirety of Palestine from the river to the sea, expel Palestinians. They want all of that eradicated. They want to see a government in Lebanon that basically toes the line of U.S. imperialism and Israeli settler colonialism and does not challenge it at all. And of course, the big problem with that is that even if you do get a government in place that will play along with that game, you're not going to change the hearts and minds of people on the ground. But this is essentially what their plan is to eliminate any resistance. And settler colonies tend to do this. They tend to expand their borders because they kept getting away with it before. So you already have many Israeli settlers who want to go to Lebanon and create Israeli settlements in those lands. This is kind of how that advancement of settler colonialism works historically and in the present. They'll now say in the beginning, well, we need these outposts. We need to create a buffer zone. No, you can't repopulate these. Lebanese cannot come return. Oh, well, the land is empty. We might as well bring in Israeli settlers now and call it part of Israel. This is kind of the slow process of annexation and settler colonial conquest. This is how it works. So I do think that their long-term plan for Lebanon is to continue to destabilize it, to continue to make sure that it acquiesces to Israeli demands. And that will probably lead to, if this goes unresisted and unopposed, not just by the Lebanese people, by the international community, you could see down the line, it could be years down the line, but still down the line, efforts to officially annex Lebanese lands and call it as part of Israel.
Muhannad Ayyash, thanks very much for joining me here on TRT World. I really appreciate your taking out the time.
My pleasure. Thank you.